Good morning, it's Lion Brave, and I just got back from China, so I have firsthand experience on what it's like teaching in China, and I'm here to answer the question, what are the reasons I shouldn't teach in China? It's important to know why you should and shouldn't do something. So let's talk about why you shouldn't go, why China might not be for you. Okay, if you're very, very close to your family, like if you love your family and are used to spending every second of the day with them, you probably shouldn't go to China. You will be homesick. You know, one thing about being in a new country is it starts off like, yeah, yeah, reach for the moon and the sun and the stars. But then you quickly can start missing your family and friends. So if you're the type of person who, like, plays backgammon with your grandma every Sunday for the last 10 years, and you're the type of person who always goes to the same restaurant with your three best friends, and you're the type of person who still cuddles with your mom in bed, China might not be for you. China is for people who are adventurous and not going to get homesick easy. Now, you know, China is all the way on the other side of the world for Americans, and we're lucky because they're seeking us, but that's not an easy trip for anyone to make. The tickets could be anywhere for a round trip ticket for 700 if you're lucky, all the way up to 2,000 or more. So that China is not an easy trip to make. It's about a 31-hour plane ride, and it's not an easy trip to make financially or time wise. You're not going to be visiting your friends and family easily if you go to China. And you're going to have to adjust to the culture and make new friends. So if you're a mama's girl, China is probably not for you. What are other reasons China is not for you? China's not going to be for you if you're not adventurous. That's probably the key word behind everything. If you're not someone who is like spice, wait, I'm saying it backwards. Variety is the spice of life. If you're not someone who's like, variety is the spice of life, China is not for you, because you're going to have to reverse everything you know about your way of life. Like, I'm going to tell you guys something. They don't even poop the same in China. They don't. They poop in these things called squatters, which are essentially a porcelain hole in the ground. So if you're used to Western toilets that are big and you sit down on them, your first thing is gonna be like, oh, this is gross, and they are gross at first, but over time you might grow to like squatters. I personally have grown to like squatters and actually see that they're actually cleaner than Western toilets when you think about it. And now I like a good squat. Anyways, mostly they do eat with chopsticks. So I personally like chopsticks. I never actually had a problem using chopsticks. It wasn't anything for me to master, and Chinese people are goofy and friendly and nice and easily impressed by Westerners who can use chopsticks. So if you can use chopsticks, you're bound to get a whether they're being sarcastic or not, but you're definitely, if you're a foreigner who can use chopsticks, you're gonna get some smiles. You should not go to China if you're not willing to adapt to a completely new way of life. Ni hao ma. They speak Mandarin in China, so you should definitely be willing to pick up some of the language. You will likely need to learn some Mandarin because it's China. And if you're lucky and you're in a big international city like Shanghai or Shenzhen, you might be able to get by only using English. But for the rest of China, you will definitely, if you can't speak it, you're going to be pretty lonely. You will have a translator app if you can download it. That can make your life more convenient and easy. But, you know, mostly you need to be adventurous and flexible, and willing to adapt to a new environment. And also, you need to be patient. That might surprise you. You need to be patient. Not only do you need to be patient to teach kids something in a second language, but you need to be patient with yourself and allowing yourself to have feelings of loneliness and isolation, which even if you're surrounded by all kinds of Chinese people will happen, because you're outside of your culture and your niche. And you need to be patient with learning the language. It would be better to practice now before you head over there. And you just need to be patient with yourself and what you expect from China, and getting used to a whole new way of life and a new culture. So those are the things you need. And you also need to be willing to see them kill animals right in front of you and then to serve it. Granted, this is not in the major cities, but it does happen where someone might like literally break a chicken's neck right in front of you. It's China's rapidly advancing, so scenes like this are diminishing, but it's around. China's not ashamed to let you know where your meat came from. They don't hide it. Other than that, China's really great. It's fast paced. It could easily be overwhelming for you. If you're not ready for, if you hate, if you hate crowds, you should not go to China. China is the most populous country on earth. Okay? If you hate crowds, you need to stay out of China. China is a very populated country. And then also, if you love God, if you're like, Jesus loves me, this I know, yeah, for the Bible. Just kidding. Tells me so. Just kidding. If you're like a huge into, I got to go to church every Sunday, China is pretty much an atheist country. There's not going to be a lot of people talking about Jesus, and there's not going to be a lot of people praying, and some minority groups in China do get locked up. So if like you love God and you're like one of those people wearing I Heart Jesus shirts, like, I'm not trying to be mean, but China's probably not for you. And if I was you, I wouldn't go to China like, I'm going to spread the gospel, because you might get locked up and never heard from again. Now, you do what you think you got to do, apostles. But anyways, those are the reasons you shouldn't teach in China. If you're not adventurous, if you are not willing to adapt, if you're have a deeply religious person, if you're a big social media person, also, you probably shouldn't teach in China, because China blocks everything. Now, there are ways around this. Like, there's a virtual private network called a VPN, but China blocks everything. So if you like Instagram, Facebook, and are like mild, what is it called? Social media influencer, then you better not go to China. Like, obviously, it would have been great to upload videos while I was in China, but first of all, I didn't have the gear, and second of all, the internet's blocked, and it wasn't convenient, and I was living my life, and I was having a good time. Better to reflect when you get at home. So those are the reasons you shouldn't go and teach in China. Hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe.